I'd like to introduce Dr. Clara Amador-Lankster, my co-researcher in this study, and she's excited to present this lightning talk today in the alma mater of Dr. Cecilio Amador-Lankster, her father, the son of a farmer who was graduated from the School of Medicine in this prestigious Universidad de Granada. She's currently an associate professor and Fulbright senior specialist for the U.S. government with educational projects in Colombia. She is a professional educator with a doctorate degree in educational policy and extensive experience she has in education in the U.S. and other countries. Her research interests include teacher preparation and certification, diversity, inclusion, equity, and language with language minority students and students of diverse backgrounds. Dr. Amador-Lankster.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I would like to introduce my co-researcher, Dr. Sol Edward II, who is very excited about presenting our lightning talk today as well. He co-presented with me in Cape Town, South Africa on diversity and how do you experience diversity in 2011. He is a retired Compton Police Detective and a 3-term president of the Compton Police Officers Association. He is former president of the Board of Education and currently an associate faculty assistant professor at National University. He's also the proud recipient of the 2016 Congressional Gold Medal.
Let's give a little context of this study. Recently, there have been a number of shootings in the United States. In fact, when we began the study, when we conceived it, it was mostly shootings of police officers shooting African-American males. However, since the study began, we've had shootings by African-American males of police officers in both Dallas and Baton Rouge. And we thought that we would come up with something that would give us some insight on what's being perceived here. Now, the purpose of this study is to explore how ethnicity is and how race is perceived and influence police officers and probation officers when dealing with someone of a different ethnic background than their own, and how this will work itself out.
And the interesting thing about this research study is that we both as co-researchers came out with different disciplinary backgrounds. So Dr. Lankster obviously has an area of expertise and knowledge based on law enforcement and policing and community policing. I, however, come from education, educational policy, and I am a researcher published internationally. So we both came from different backgrounds to assist each other in this co-research study, which is really an emerging exploratory study to begin with. So the methodology that we used for the study was really based on the notion of doing a qualitative focus group in the context of a fishbowl. What we decided to do was select a random sample of police officers currently in the line of duty who would be part of the focus group. This focus group would be a centric circle in the middle of the room that would be a concentric circle to another outer layer or another circle by other students who would be actually observing the processing of the focus group. I served as the co-researcher facilitator in determining the questions that were going to be posed to the focus group for this particular study. The questions were all dealing with their perceptions about race, about ethnicity, their experiences with people, with individuals from other races, other backgrounds. As a facilitator myself, I distributed and I actually provided open-ended questions where participants had the ability and the liberty to participate at leisure, and in some cases they chose not to respond, some cases they did, but we actually had a person transcribing all of the notes for the focus group that then we decided to analyze for categories and emerging categories and trends that would come up as a result of the focus group. Dr. Lankster also had the other students observing the focus group experience.
Our findings were most interesting. Some of the trends that were developing, we learned things that would surprise you, certainly surprised me as an experienced and retired police investigator. One of the things that emerged in this study was that we found that African American women and Latino men resent taking orders from a female. That female could be the chief of police or any supervisor. If it's another female, there is inbred resentment of them taking orders from that female.
And that came out from the category analysis that we did from the focus group transcriptions.
Yes.
We also found out another finding that spoke to senior officers with 25 years or more experience on the line of duty. They shared with us, and it became very clear in the focus group, that they are better and more effective at resolving conflict when they provide an opportunity to the individual or the subject to express and to vent, and these were the words exact that they used, to vent about a particular situation. After 20 years or so of experience, they learned that by listening to a subject, they're able to more quickly and effectively diffuse the conflict as opposed to escalating the conflict.
One of the things that we came up with, in fact, in reflecting on my own experience, if you use your badge and your authority to rush into a situation, try and use that authority to quell that disturbance without giving the people the opportunity to vent, chances are that situation might erupt again later on and may result in a serious crime or assault or some kind of abuse that might not have happened if you had a chance to diffuse rather than escalate the situation.
And another finding that we found from this emerging study is that African American males are viewed as mysterious, intriguing, and threatening. Therefore, in that perception base, if something happens, situations are bound to escalate as opposed to be diffused. So we notice that there is a pronounced perception of African American males in a more threatening way.
Absolutely. Some of the officers who had experience growing up in African American communities thought that they had an edge or some greater expertise in resolving situations because they did not perceive African Americans automatically, or they did not predeceive, or they were not predisposed to see them as being threatening, just because of the fact that they were African Americans. Let's talk about the pictures with the little time that we have left. We showed the group 10 pictures, and we had them to. Would you explain that?
Right, we showed them 10 pictures that we strategically selected, and the instruction was given for them to tell us what was their initial, immediate, gut level impression in the form of 2 or 3 captions, 2 or 3 words in response to the picture. We wanted them to not filter, not process, but rather give us a gut level reaction to the picture they had in front.
Okay, let's take a look at, I think this is picture number 3, picture number 3 here. In picture number 3, I can hold it here, it is the picture of a soldier.
In response to this picture, the participants had different reactions. Some of their captions were brave, freedom, pain, intense, soldier, angry, hopeless, sadness, selfish, hurt, angry, lost a friend in battle, and hurt. The highest frequency was hurt. It appeared 3 times out of 8, followed by angry 2 times out of 8, and brave and freedom once out of 8. So the overall consensus, or the highest frequency for that, was hurt. That was a perception.
Okay, let's take a quick look at another picture here. I believe we can go to picture number
5.
And that one is the picture with
A male with a turban.
A male with a turban. You want to expound on that?
So the perception to this picture and the captions generated by the participants in the focus group were as follows: turban, terrorist; model, handsome. Participant 3 said Afghan male. Participant 4, evil, terrorist. Participant 5, threat, concerning, scary. Participant 6, confident. Participant 7, ISIS member, trouble. And participant 8, indifferent. Clearly, this picture evoked many different responses, and we found that the highest frequency was for terrorist and violent with 4 out of 8, followed by a divergent view, which is model, handsome, and confident.
Just the sight of this picture elicited all of those responses. But quickly, before we finish, let's go to another picture that you must explain this one. This one, I think, had the most varied and different responses to it.
Correct. When we presented this picture, we had very different responses, but it was very striking to us. Participant 1 said both siblings are famous. The participant 2 said brother, sister, family. Participant 3, man and a woman. Participant 4, innocent, educated. Participant 5, normal, plain, bad haircut. Participant 6, transgender. Participant 7, brother, sister, looking very happy, and participant 8 changed. What was most striking to us as researchers is that out of all these categories and captions, only 1 out of 8 identified this picture as one of a transgender individual.
But the individual was once a male or once a female and had actually changed their gender. I didn't pick that up either when I first saw it.
So interesting enough for us as co-researchers is to begin to understand that for police officers, the reality of diversity in transgender community is something we need to explore further, because clearly this was not viewed or understood or perceived.
Okay, and we'll understand that as a police officer, you make snap judgments. When you instantly see something, many times you don't have another second to think or to decide what it is, but your reaction is an immediate reaction. And it is important for us to understand what the immediate reactions are. So from this study, I believe what we concluded is that we cannot make a conclusion of just what we've explored here, that we have to continue the study so that we can continue to explore and find out how to best deal with situations so we can better educate our police officers and probation officers.
One of the things we want to do to just wrap this lightning talk is we would like to do a comparative analysis with a focus group formed by probation officers. So probation officers' perceptions will be contrasted toward, against the perceptions of police officers. And as a result of that, we would like to do an IRB-approved study of a larger scale with the probation department in Los Angeles to really understand how we do not see through our eyes or hear through our ears, but we see and hear through our belief systems.
We do see and hear through our belief systems first and foremost.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lankster. I hope you enjoyed the talk. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Amador-Lankster, and thank you at the University of Granada for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you.